they don't fully understand what they're learning. They just go, here's the book, here's what it is, and that's it. And they don't ever think any more beyond that. They don't fully understand what they're learning. They just go, here's the book, here's what it is, and that's it. And they don't ever think any more beyond that. But for me, I always had this interest of diving in and going like, why is that the way? You say, do it this way, and this will happen. Why? How? And if this is true, then that means if somebody else says something different, and that's true also, then where is the connection between the two? I remember when I was first learning and I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I remember listening and everything sounded so relevant and so accurate. And then I listened to Eckhart Tolle. And I'm like, man, it sounds kind of similar. Like there's a little similarity, but man, they're really, really different. And then I listened to Autobiography Yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda. And so one is yogic, one is scientific, and one is more spiritual. And I knew that underlying foundation, it's got to be the same, but yet they weren't speaking the same. And I was very confused because I was listening to them simultaneously, but I wanted to try to find the pinpoint. And also the person that I was dating at the time was a Christian. And so then she and her family would tell me about Jesus said this. And I'm like, okay, so now I have 4 very different perspectives. And I was looking for the similarity. And it took me years to find it. But I kept looking. And eventually I started to find the similarity that they were all pointing to. And that was during the time that I started to build this. Because I started realizing what people are actually trying to accomplish. And now it's like it all makes sense, but it took many years. So now it's like for anybody that is actually interested in learning, they're going to run into a lot of these questions. Like a doctor will go, oh, you need your chemicals are off in your body. Your hormones are off, your dopamine is too low, or you have too much cortisol. So what you have is a chemical problem. And then you talk to an energy worker and they go, well, your problem is your energy is off. Your energy vibration is too low. Your aura field is not good. I'm sensing this. You've got these spikes coming out of your energy fields. We need to go and fix your energy. And then a psychologist goes, your mind is off. It's all about your mind. You need to let go of childhood traumas that's stuck in here. And then a trainer will go, it's just because you're unhealthy. You need to get off your butt. You need to start moving your body. You need to go ahead and the thing is, and then a dietitian, here's one more. A dietitian go, it's the foods. Your body's too acidic. You need to eat more alkaline foods. You need to go on a fast. We need to go ahead and clear those things out. And who's right? All of them are right. But why? It's because they're all simultaneously talking about one body that has all these different parts. And when we change one thing, it influences the other. But if we're just looking at that one part and we don't look at the others, then we go, it's only this, but it's only this, it's only this. But in reality, if we change this, all these change. If we change this, all these change. If we change the chemical, everything else changes. The energy changes, our mobility changes, our body changes. We start to want to eat different things automatically. We don't have to try. Automatically, we start to crave different things if we just change the chemicals in the body. Or if we start to move the body, suddenly our psychology changes and suddenly our energy changes and vice versa, every one of them. But it took me years to go ahead and discover this, and not just through reading. I wish there was more information that would explain all this in that way. And I'm sure there is, but they're probably in very thick books. And honestly, I'm not much of a reader. I learned it through experience. And so I spend time and I experience this thing, and I would change up my diets. I would go and put different chemicals into my body and see the psychological change. I would go and exercise and I would see what's the change in my energy and how dense my body feels, how heavy it feels, how light it feels. I would see if my thoughts are changing. And I would go and see if my mood changes. And over time, I started testing. I realized they're all changing simultaneously. And that's why all of these different people that are talking about different things are all accurate. But what happens is somebody will learn from one thing and they won't stick to it long enough because they get distracted by something else. And then they will learn a little bit of this. They stop doing that, they do this. But if they realize it's all the same, then they can just find one that it fits for them, and they go really, 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 really deep into it. And once they go deep enough, they understand everything else. When I look at flow training is on one of those. It's not covering all of them. It's on one of them. And that one is on the physical. The second layer it would cover is mental. And that's the depth of it. But it's not diving into eating and dietitian and changing up our foods. Not yet. And the reason it's not yet is because I am not really big on changing up all of these different foods. I've always stuck to being a bodybuilding background. My foods are really, really simple. I didn't want to make it complicated. I didn't learn about all this stuff. So I just made it really simple. Eat very similar foods every day. Don't mix it up, and there's certain characteristics of how to eat, just stick to those. Don't get real fancy about it. And so therefore I never exaggerated a lot into that, but that alone can change as well. But I didn't focus on that. And now, right now, my eating is changing and I'm not even trying. I'm simply just not hungry, but I'm not trying. I'm not even trying to not have an appetite. But because I'm changing, I'm going deeper into my practice and it's influencing my appetite. I'm starting to let go of more emotions and it's influencing my appetite. But I could have influenced my appetites in a different way as well. But we don't have to.